Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot, and I'm back again with another VR. Since I've been back on YouTube, there's just been so many wonderful VRs that I've wanted to have a go at, plus, you know, new decks and just lots to catch up on really. So it would be lovely if you watched and said hello and commented. That would be fantastic. So this tag, as you will have seen, is Simon's tag at the Hermit's Cave, and this is the hashtag the deck that tag. And I watched Simon's video and had a look at his prompts and really felt that I wanted to join in with this, so I'll try not to make it too long, but I suspect that it will be because I've got quite a lot of decks. So without further ado, the first question is the deck that reflects who I used to be. And this, I sort of sat with this for a bit and really thought about this. I think that's why I like this tag, because it was very thought-provoking. And really, I couldn't come up with an actual tarot deck that reflects who I used to be, but I've got two more oracle type decks, I suppose. The first one is the Wisdom Well, and the second one is Caroline Miss her archetype cards. You probably all are very familiar with these. The Wisdom Well is a deck that I've had, God, I don't honestly know how long. Let's see what the copyright was. 2003. Well, I think I've had it since it was released. And it's a little deck in a book. Really nice book, actually. You can still, this is out of print, but you can still find copies of this around on eBay. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've owned this for, if this is 2003, I must have had this for at least 20 years. And I also have Caroline's deck as well. I've had that since this was 2003 as well. So I must have had these both for 20 odd years. And I'll show you some of the cards actually from the Wisdom Well rather than Caroline's deck, because I think you may not have seen this one. It's a very funny little pouch of cards here, and they're all just really archetypes of one kind or another, based on Carl Jung. And so that's the reason why I've chosen these two decks, is because well, I was given my first tarot deck when I was 18, and I learnt to read tarot cards when I was 18, so that's almost 40 years ago. And for a long time, I only had one deck of tarot cards, and that was my trusty old Rider-Waite-Smith deck that was given to me. And it never even occurred to me to buy other tarot decks. I had a few Doreen Virtue oracle decks at the time, but the thing that I was really interested in was archetypes, because, you know, as you might know, my background was in mental health, and I read extensively Carl Jung and was just really fascinated with the archetypes that he came up with. So these two archetype decks were in my possession long before any other tarot decks, and they still are of huge interest to me, actually. I didn't use the Wisdom Well so much, but I used Caroline Miss's deck a lot with clients when I was working. We did the I can't remember what it's called now. You know, we did the determining of the our archetypes. I did all of that for myself as well. And then I've got a book of hers, I think, which is called Sacred Contracts. And in that you can work out all of your archetypes. And it sort of gives you a really good insight into your personality. I'm trying to think what it was called because it's fallen out of my head. But Caroline, she has 4 archetypes of survival here: the child, the victim, the prostitute, and the saboteur. And then after that, you go on to choose more cards for your sacred contract. I haven't looked at this in so long, but yeah, if I was to pick a deck that reflect who I used to be, I would say that I used to be much more interested in archetypes and this kind of energy than I did, and also my old oracle decks, actually, more than I did tarot. Like I said, I learnt to read tarot decks, but wasn't sort of obsessed or blown away by them in the same way as I was looking at these archetype decks. The Carl Jung one is absolutely fascinating. Some of the writing in this, you get in the words of Jung, you get a commentary, some keywords, a reverse meaning, you get all sorts of stuff. It's really, really fascinating and gives you a really good insight into people's personalities and why people do the things that they do, why people have the same patterns in life, you know. Sorry, I'm just putting that over there. So yeah, that's the deck that reflects who I used to be. The deck that surprised me the most, and again, I've got 2 decks here. Some of these prompts I've only got 1, but some I just couldn't pick one. So the decks that surprised me the most are these 2 decks. So the Oracle deck, I bought this maybe 3 years ago, I suppose, this Soul Trees deck, which is by Alison Williams Yee. And it's Soul Trees is the company. But yeah, I saw it on somebody's channel. It might have been Carrie at Carrie's Mystical Musings. She might have had it before me. I'm not entirely sure. But and I ordered it over from America, not really knowing what to expect from it, but it is such a brilliant oracle deck. I find that it pairs well with most of my tarot decks. The little guidebook that comes with it is quite simple, but I also bought, I think there's the Ascension deck, which was another tree deck that came with this. I just find that this lends itself to so many different readings, so many different pairings. It's a nice card to have sat on your altar to sort of meditate on the energy of. They're quite thought-provoking. It's a brilliant oracle deck. I just can't say enough about it, really. And like I said, I bought the Ascension deck as well at the same time because it's often cheaper, isn't it, to have 2 decks shipped over than just one. So, and then the other one is Curious Travels Tarot deck, which I know Simon's a big fan of as well. And for the same reasons as him, I nearly didn't buy this deck because when you just look at the box, it's not that intriguing, is it? It's not that exciting. I had no clue just how good the tarot deck inside would be. I know, as Simon said on his channel, this deck is just amazing. The cardstock is beautiful. They feel gorgeous in your hands. It's a really, really high quality deck, I think, for such a sort of relatively cheap mass market deck. You sort of think to yourself, well, if they can do such a good production with this US Games, well, why are all of the mass market tarot decks not this good quality in terms of the cardstock, you know? Because sometimes you can get fantastic imagery, fantastic artwork, but the cardstock really lets it down. But this just ticks every box. It reads beautifully well. I used this for my Drop'em 78 tarot challenge last year, and yeah, I think it's an absolutely amazing deck. I don't have a bad word about it, really. And like I said, it surprised me hugely, mainly because when you look at the box and the image on the box, on the cover of the box, sorry about that, you wouldn't really not think that this was going to be anything too good. Hang on. So there we go. I managed to get it back in the box. So number 3, the prompt is the deck that intimidates me. And again, I've pulled 2 for this, a tarot and an oracle. I'm sorry I couldn't help myself. But out of my whole collection, these are probably the 2 decks that intimidate me the most. The first one is the Mythologica, Feminica. See, I can't even say it. Mythologia Fenica Tarot. And it's a rock pool deck. And my son bought me this for Christmas, amongst other things. And I had a quick look at it and it went back in the box, as you can see. It's got a really nice guidebook that actually has a lot of information. And if I took the time to study it, I'm sure I would do okay with it. But I haven't taken the time because I think it just scares me that much. It's a good job that it has the traditional tarot name at the bottom of the cards. Otherwise, I would not have a clue on many of these cards who they are or what they are. I find it beautiful, but also not at the same time. I don't know. Some of the cards I really just don't even like to look at, like this Hermit here. I normally love Hermit cards, but I really don't like that. But I think just because it's talking about a different culture, this is Finnish, isn't it, from Finland, because it's talking about a different culture and different mythology, different folklore, different characters, people I'm not familiar with. That's probably why it's so intimidating to me, because it's really going to require that I sit down with the book and really study it, and I haven't felt so inclined just yet. Like, I don't like that card there either, Judgment. Some of the cards I just don't like, so I think if you don't like them, that kind of puts you off, doesn't it? But I will get to it. I will get to it, and I will give it a go. And if it doesn't resonate, if I don't find anything in it that I enjoy, then I guess I'll have to rehome it at some point. But yeah, that one has sat on my shelf for quite a while. The other one is the Wild Unknown Archetypes, and I've just talked about archetypes, haven't I, and how much I love them, and how much I'm interested in them. Dear, I'm going to be here all day trying to get this all out of its packaging, aren't I? There's such a lot. You all know this Kim Kranz deck. Like I said, I love archetypes. I find them absolutely fascinating. And using the book for this is absolutely fascinating. But I think because I don't really get anything from the imagery, that's what makes it intimidating for me, because I depend a lot on the imagery. I depend a lot on what I'm looking at to read. And while I don't mind looking at guidebooks for oracle decks, I don't want to be quite as dependent on them as I am with this deck, if you know what I mean. So if I was going to go for an archetype deck, I'd probably go for Caroline Miss's deck before I would this one, just because that's easier for me to read. I mean, this is a fantastic deck. You know, the guidebook is amazing. There is so much information, but I am intimidated by it. There's no way around that. You know, it's not likely to be a deck that I would get out and use in readings, in videos. Although I think I did, you know, when I first got it. I think I did have a go. But I was having to look at the guidebook a lot, which annoyed me, so I kind of gave up. But I do use this occasionally for myself. I think most people would agree it's quite an intimidating deck, isn't it? So the deck that's pure comfort, prompt number 4, I have chosen, here we are, this lovely deck. This is completely pure comfort for me. It's the Mystical Cats Tarot. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Oh, except that card. I wish that one hadn't just come out. That one could make me cry, the Ten of Sky, the Ten of Swords. I don't like that card at all. We can't be looking at beaten up poor old cats, can we? But just about everything else in this deck. Oh, and that one. The Five of Earth. I don't like that one either. But everything else in this is pure comfort for me. It's gorgeous. I love this deck. I've had it for a long, long time. And it's an easy reader. I know it will make me smile on the whole. And it gives me quite a warm and happy feeling, this deck. I've owned a lot of cats in my life of all different sorts, and I can see a lot of my old cats in this deck. So, yeah, the Mystical Cats Tarot. So the next prompt number 5, is the deck that gives the best readings. And I wonder if any of you that know me can guess what I'm going to choose here for my tarot deck. I've got an oracle as well, but I wonder if you can choose, if you know what I'm going to choose. The Tower of the Abyss, obviously. This gives me, without doubt, the best readings always. For myself, and I do use it actually occasionally for other people, only people I know very well. I tried to keep it just for myself, but it reads so well that I will use it for readings. I've done quite a few readings on my channel with it as well. I always make sure that I cleanse it and I talk to it and charge it up with my energy when I want to read for myself. It feels a very personal deck to me. It's a very emotional deck that I've got all upside down, haven't I? I do absolutely love it. And I think I remember Simon saying in his video that it's a deck that every time you look at it, no matter how many times you look at it, you see something else. I'm always seeing other little signs, other little things in it that make me think or change how I would read it very slightly. Yeah. And the other deck that is the best reader for me, that gives the best readings, and I use it alongside the Tower of the Abyss quite a lot, is this old deck here, the Soul Oracle cards by Sonia Croquette. This deck is a very old deck, not sure how old, 2006, and I must have had it all of that time. The cards are very basic to look at, then really nothing special at all, but I think why I like it is because of the guidebook. The guidebook really resonates and really reads well. And there's often enough actually in these cards for me to read them intuitively with my tarot. I don't always have to look at the guidebook. There's often just about enough here for it to add some clarity or whatever it is that I'm looking for in my reading. I'll often use this deck if I'm reading for other people. It's a brilliant deck. I don't know whether it's still, you can still buy it easily or if it's out of print. I don't honestly know. I'm sure you can find it. So deck number 6 is a deck that's too pretty to use, but I still love it. And you know, I really struggled with this because I do have some pretty decks, but I wouldn't class any of them as too pretty to use. But what I did come up with is this, the Green Wheel Oracle by Danielle Barlow. And to be honest, I don't really use this as an oracle deck, I suppose. I use this more as cards for my altar, because I do find it that pretty. I love all of the various moons, all of the different animals. Yeah. It, like I said, this was a really hard prompt. I did think about, what else did I think about? There was a white, oh dear, hang on. I did think about this, the White Sage Tarot, because it's a very, very, very pretty, soft and gentle little deck. But I can't say I love it. So that's why I didn't choose it. So I think it has to be this, because I do find this deck incredibly pretty. And I do use it. I do love it. And I do use it a lot. There are often, these cards are often around my tarot room. You know, I pull the moon cards out. I'll pull different animals out for different times of the year. I just absolutely love Danielle Barlow's artwork, so I think it has to be the Green Wheel Oracle. Okay, so the next prompt is the deck that made me fall in love with tarot. And again, I've got 2 decks, a tarot and an oracle. And you may well have seen these before, me talk about these before. But this very, very grubby and very, very bent. I think this is Universal Rider-Waite-Smith, isn't it? This one. This was the deck that was bought for me when I was 18. And you can see it doesn't sit straight anymore. It's very bent, even though I don't riffle shuffle or anything like that, but it's just that old and that grubby. If I was 18 and I'm going to be 57 in September, you can tell how long I've owned this deck, how old it is. And yeah, I never felt that these images were old-fashioned. I didn't know any different. I just fell in love with the themes and the people and the little scenes, and I think it just was amazing to me that I was able to tell a story from such a little amount of information. You know, that you wouldn't think, would you, that you could just look at a card of a family and some cups and be able to talk at length about that, you know, and that has a significant meaning to you. I just loved learning about all the different elements, the different suits, the different omens, the different symbols. I just loved everything about it. And the other deck, and if I'm honest, I think I fell in love with oracle decks, oracle cards, before I did tarot. I don't know how old this book is, 2004, and I would have bought it new. Like I said, I had that tarot deck on its own for a long, long time, and then I started to collect these beautiful Doreen Virtue oracle decks, and I had and have still got quite a few, but I think out of all of them, this was my absolute favourite. You know, to learn about all these different goddesses and find that I could find meaning in my own life and other people's lives by looking at them was, again, quite amazing to me at the time. It really blew my mind all those years ago. So this deck is 21 years old now. So yeah, it's quite amazing, isn't it, really? I think I've got a lot of her decks except for the angel decks, because they don't tend to resonate with me quite as much as fairies and goddesses. But yeah, this one and my Universal Rider-Waite-Smith definitely are what made me fall in love with tarot. So a deck that I wish more people talked about, prompt number 8, I've chosen the In Between Tarot. Let's put that up a little bit more. It's a low Scarabeo deck. It's in a big box. And really, I think it's about the liminal spaces between the cards. You know, all of the cards blend into each other and really do tell a story. I have been meaning for a long, long time to really study this deck. So that should be the World, shouldn't it? And then going into the Fool there. Yeah. I've been meaning for a long, long time. There's the Magician. To study this deck, and I think I've started to at certain times and then got distracted by other things that are far more exciting. But I do really want to get stuck into this, and this is not a deck that you see many people use or talk about, and I often wish that they did, because I think it would then encourage me to get stuck in with it a bit more, because it's such a fascinating concept, isn't it? There we go, from the Hierophant into the Lovers, and the Lovers into the Chariot, and the Chariot into Strength. And you can see it all here, and the guidebook is actually amazing for explaining all of this. So yeah, I think it's a very, very nice production in general, actually. I think all of the cards are really, really nice. I like the story that they tell. There's different stories within the suits of this card. Yeah, I would really like to see somebody skilled and knowledgeable and experienced with tarot have a real good study of this deck, because I'd really like to see what they do with it. Okay, so I'm not taking too much time, am I? I can see. So prompt number 9 is a deck that feels like a secret between us. And this was difficult. This was really difficult because, you know, watching TarotTube, I'm aware that most of my decks, or the vast majority of my decks, are not a secret. Everybody is using them, but one I don't see many people using, and it's a very old deck. One I didn't buy that long ago. I bought it used, but I don't know, I just love it. I absolutely do. I find that it reads really gorgeously. It's the Robin Wood Tarot. I've had some amazing readings for myself out of this deck. It's actually a deck that I really don't mind the borders on, because usually I'm a bit funny. I don't really like white borders on cards. I don't know. I don't know what it is about this deck, but there's just something so warm and gentle and sweet and talkative about this deck. This deck wants to talk to you. It wants to tell you things. I just absolutely love it. And like I said, although it's very much a Rider-Waite-Smith type deck, it's got its own little spin, and it's a really easy reader. If I was to pick up a Rider-Waite-Smith type deck these days, I would be hard pushed to choose between this one, I think, and the Curious Travels deck. I think they'd probably be my two favourites. But I'm going to say this one feels like a secret between us, because I don't ever really see anybody else using it particularly. It feels like I discovered it and it's for me. Look at all these lovely wands, look. Yeah, so there you go. Okay, so prompt number 10 is a deck that defines my tarot practice right now. Again, this was difficult. I was not really sure what to choose for that because, well, I don't know. I don't know what defines my tarot practice right now, except this is the deck that I'm using right now and I love right now, and it is the Penumbra Tarot. I've just done a deck interview and one of the spreads from the book in a video on my channel. I've started to pull cards for myself. And I think this is quite a nice little challenge for me, really, because this isn't, although this has a lot of themes of Rider-Waite-Smith in it, and I am a Rider-Waite-Smith girl, this is also sort of Thoth based. It has some different names for the different cards in it. It's got a very strong fae sort of feel about it. It is something a little bit different, and so I think it's a good learning curve for me. It's certainly stimulating for my brain at the moment, and I'm really enjoying getting to know it, actually. I love the colour palette of this deck. So yeah, I don't know how to explain it any more than that. I wish I could be more articulate about why it's defining my tarot practice, but it is the deck that I'm currently using, and I think my tarot practice itself, the cards and the decks that I'm choosing a lot these days, do have a very sort of elemental feel, a very natural, nature-based feel. They often have a fae feel to them, or something very pagan at least. So so perhaps that's what's defining my practice at the moment. I'm not really sure, but I absolutely love this deck. I've really fallen for it. Okay, prompt number 11, a deck that pulls me out of a rut. Well, there was only one deck that came to mind immediately, and this is a deck that I will pull out and look at when I need cheering up, and it is the Blooming Lovelies Oracle cards by Zeppelin Moon. There are just so many cards in this deck that are so funny. It is the cutest little deck. One fine day joy will come. Run, baby, run until you're free. Wax on, wax off. Look up, baby, it's all for you. Absolutely bloody lovely. You were once wild too. Natural born badass. If at first you don't succeed, check your flaps. Answers are questionable things. I like that. A beetle has better places to be. Dance on the back of a crocodile. and my hot shit brings all the flies to the yard. Why wear your sad face when you can wear a banana? It's just brilliant, isn't it? You can see why this would cheer me up and make me smile and make me giggle. It's just such a cute, cute deck. Okay, and the last prompt, I've picked 2 decks for this. This is a deck that waits patiently, and I've got 2 here. I've got a tarot deck and an oracle deck, and the tarot deck is the Circe Tarot. I can't remember when I bought this, last year I think sometime, and although I've used it for a few VRs and a few sort of videos, I've not used it to read with as yet, and it is just gorgeous. I don't know why I haven't. You get that sometimes, don't you? Decks that just for one reason or another just sort of keep getting bumped and pushed to the side. I'm not really sure why, but it is an absolutely beautiful deck. I love the deep colours in this. It actually is a pretty easy reader from when I've looked at it. It reads intuitively. I will be using this deck at some point. I will have a couple of weeks or a month studying this deck. So this deck is definitely waiting patiently for me. I mean, I have some decks that I've collected because I love the artwork, and they'll sit on my shelf, and they might sit on my shelf forever and me not actually use them to read with. I've just collected them because I like the artwork in some way, but this deck is not one of those. This deck I want to read with, so yeah, this deck is waiting patiently for me. As is this, which again I bought maybe a couple of years ago. It's the Psy cards, and they just sat on my shelf for quite a long time because I wasn't really sure what to do with them. Again, there's sort of, this has a sort of archetypal energy, and I wasn't really sure how they were going to fit into my practice because I don't like having to keep looking at books, and I was aware with this that I would have to. But what I've been doing, and I'm nearly finished, you can see I've only got a few more cards left to go, is I've been writing keywords on each one of the cards, and that took me a little while to get the right pen. So I had some pens. I'll show you, like this pen here on these cards. I had a pen that smudged. I had another pen that wouldn't write on them, and eventually I found a nice fine tipped permanent marker, and so I've been writing on all of these cards, all of the keywords, and when I've finished, I plan to use it. It's been about a year that I've been trying to decide what to do with it and get round to actually writing on it. And like I said, I'm still not even finished, but I am nearly finished. And I think once it's all done, this will become quite a good, productive deck for me to use. You can see this one, it just didn't write well on there at all, and that one, it all got smudged on the lyre, which I'm very, very annoyed about, but I can just about read it. So yeah, it as you can see, this is the cards when they're not written on. They're beautiful little cards in their own right, and the book is actually brilliant, but like I said, I like to be able to just have a few keywords and then let my intuition loose on the reading, really. So yeah, let's keep those separate actually. I don't want to mix them back in. So yeah, this has been waiting patiently for me for some time, but I'm getting there. I'm nearly there now. Not many left to do at all. So there we go. That didn't take quite as long as I was thinking that it would. 40 minutes, that's not too bad, is it? It could be worse. So I hope you enjoyed listening. This was the deck That tag from Simon at the Hermit's Cave. Is a fantastic thought-provoking tag. I don't know how many people have had a go. I've not really looked too hard, but if you haven't, I would encourage you to have a go. I'll link Simon's video in the description box and the questions. Be lovely to hear from you. Please do say hello. Lots of love to everybody, and I'll see you soon.